Hi, friends. Happy Wind Down Wednesday. I'm so glad you're here with us this evening. Find someplace cozy to sit and we will get started. November 11th is Veterans Day. It's a time to thank all the people who have served in the United States military, like the Army, Navy, Marines, and Air Force. It's a day to honor or show respect to them for their courage and sacrifices to protect our country's freedom. It's really important on Veterans Day to thank a veteran. There's lots of different ways that you can thank a veteran. You could use your voice to say thank you for your service. You could make cards that thank them for their service, like what we're going to be doing in class. We're going to make special cards that will be delivered to veterans. You can also thank a veteran by spending time listening to them tell you stories about their time serving our country. One way to celebrate Veterans Day is by learning more about the holiday and learning about the traditions that take place on Veterans Day. Honoring our flag or showing respect to our flag is another great way to celebrate Veterans Day. One way that we will be celebrating Veterans Day in class is by learning about some United States symbols. So, a symbol is when you look at something and it reminds you of something else. So, for example, when we look at the American flag, we think of our country, the United States. We're going to learn about different symbols of the United States, and we're even going to make a super special craft that has to do with one of them. So this evening, I was thinking it would be really great if we read 2 stories about Veterans Day. One story is a nonfiction book. That means it's not fake. It is a book where we're going to see real photographs. We're going to see words that are bold. We're going to see captions. We're going to see labels. We're also going to read a fiction book. This is going to be a realistic fiction book. It's going to be about something that could happen. And we're going to see a story take place where there aren't made up things like monsters or dragons. We're going to see things that are realistic, that could happen. The first story we're going to listen to is titled Veterans Day. It's part of a series of books. The series is Happy Holidays. Veterans Day by Betsy Rathburn. In nonfiction books, we see a table of contents. The table of contents tells us what page numbers we need to go to read about different topics. On page 4, it is Veterans Day. Page 6, a day to honor. Page 12, a day to give thanks. Page 22, Veterans Day facts. Page 23, glossary. Page 24, to learn more. Page 24, index. So in nonfiction books, we see a table of contents. These are some words that we're going to see in the story. Can you read one of them? How about another one? I see some trick words. It is Veterans Day. People fly flags. It is Veterans Day. the American flag is a symbol for our country. When we look at it, we think of the United States. A day to honor. The United States honors this day. It is on November 11th. To honor something, it means to respect it. And we can see a couple veterans right here. You can see they're wearing special hats with important pins. I wonder if they're in a parade. It's a tradition for many people to go to parades or be in a parade if they are a veteran. A war ended on this day. The day World War I ended. That's what it looked like when the war ended. And it ended on November 11th, which is Veterans Day. Here we can see a kid with his grown-up, and his grown-up is wearing some camouflage. It honors veterans. These people were in the armed forces. Here we see some bolded words. Bolded words tell us that something is important. And sometimes when a word or words are bolded, that means that there is a definition in the back of the book, in the glossary. Armed forces, the groups that keep a country safe. Let's keep reading. There's a label. You know how much I love labeling. You're doing a great job labeling, especially during arts and letters time. I love how I see students drawing pictures and then labeling them. We also label in math class. We're learning how to circle expressions, which are when you're adding two numbers, but there isn't an equal sign yet. And we are circling and labeling the sum. Hey, do you know what the sum of 7 plus 3 is? Think about it. Blow it into your hand. Let it go. 10. A day to give thanks. People go to parades. Veterans may walk in them. Have you ever been to a parade? What was something you noticed when you were at the parade? Parades. People are groups who walk together during events. People show respect. They cheer. They wave flags. Have you ever been to a Veterans Day parade? Respect means to care for other people's thoughts and feelings. That word reminds me of our class community family. Put a thumb up if you see that we respect each other. Yes. Not only are we respecting each other, but you're respecting me, you're respecting the classroom, you're respecting the school by making safe, respectful, and responsible choices. Keep up the good work. Kiss your brain. People listen to stories. They learn about wars. One way to show a veteran that you care about them and you're thankful for them is by listening. Do you remember what habit of mind has to do with listening? Here's a clue. Listening with understanding and empathy. You could listen to a veteran with understanding and empathy while they're sharing with you about their experience being a veteran. People give back. They help veterans. Oh, it's so important to help others. What's one way that you help our classroom? I notice that all of you are so helpful because you make bucket filling choices. You make choices that fill up other people's buckets. Keep up the good work. This is a day to thank those who served. Oh, here, this little boy is thanking this grown-up for all of his service. And here we see a sign. Thank you, soldiers. Served means worked for the armed forces. Veterans Day facts. Hey, what is a fact? If a kindergarten student came up to you and said, hey, I heard you learned what the word fact means. What is that? What would you say? A fact is a true statement that can be proven. So, for example, grass is green. I can prove it. I can show you outside that the grass is green. It's also a fact that the sky is blue. If you were to say, no way, Miss Falvey, it is not blue, I could say, well, let's go outside and take a look. And I could point up at the sky and prove to you that the sky is blue. It's a fact. Veterans Day, facts, true statements. Celebrating Veterans Day. There are flags, there are veterans, and there are people watching the parade. Veterans Day activities. You can go to a parade, you can wave flags, you can thank veterans. And in nonfiction books, there is an index. It's usually at the back, and you can find words like, for example, the word flags. And it will tell you next to it what page numbers you can read about flags on page 4 and 14. What page can you read about the word respect? You can pause the video and find it. So, for example, if I wanted to read about respect, I could go to page 14, and there's the word respect. People show respect. They cheer, they wave flags. Oh, here's some more information for you and your grown-ups if you're interested in learning more about Veterans Day. We love remaining open to continuous learning. It's one of our habits of mind. Now that we've read a nonfiction story where we saw real photographs and labels and we saw bolded words, it's now time to read a realistic fiction book, which means that it is a made-up story, but it is realistic. It could happen. The story is called The Wall by Eve Bunting, illustrated by Ronald Himmler. What do you think this story will be about? You might be thinking, I'm not sure yet, Miss Falvey. If you're not sure, start by telling me, what do you notice on the cover? You could say, I notice Now, what do you wonder about? Wondering means you're asking a question. What questions do you have? I wonder. The wall. This is the title page. In reading groups, we have been focusing on reading. Some ways that we have been reading are echo reading and choral reading. Sometimes we take turns reading. Sometimes I ask you to sit with a partner somewhere around the room and read the story with them. When we look at the title page, we see the title and we see a picture that tells us a little bit about what we are going to read about. What do you notice in this picture? This is the wall, my grandfather's wall. On it are the names of those killed in a war long ago. Where is Grandpa's name? I ask. Oh, that's a question. In class today, we discussed how when we read a question, what happens to our voice? It goes up at the end. Let's read this sentence together. Where is Grandpa's name? I ask. We have to find it, Dad says. He and I have come a long way for this, and we walk slowly, searching. The wall is black and shiny as a mirror. In it, I can see Dad and me. I can see the bare trees behind us and the dark flying clouds. This reminds me of the habit of mind gathering data, which means gathering information from all 5 senses. He's really doing a nice job using his sense of sight. He sees this big wall and he's taking in all of this information. A man in a wheelchair stares at the names. He doesn't have legs. I'm looking and he sees me looking and smiles. It sounds like this child is curious. He's wondering. Touch your nose if you would wonder too. We're all different. This is something that's unique about him, and this child is wondering about it. It's okay to wonder. Hi, son. Hi. His hat is a soft, squashed green, and there are medals on it. His pant legs are folded back, and his shirt is a soldier's shirt. A woman, old as my grandma, is hugging a man, old as my grandpa would be. They are both crying. Shh, he whispers. Shh. Oh, it sounds like he is showing empathy, caring about her feelings. Flowers and other things have been laid against the wall. There are little flags, an old teddy bear, and letters, weighted with stones so they won't blow away. Someone has left a rose with a droopy head. Where did we see something like this? Back on the title page. Have you found Grandpa yet? I ask. No, Dad says. There are so many names. They are listed under the years when they were killed. I found 1967. That's when my grandpa died. Dad runs his fingers along the rows of print, and I do too. The letters march side by side like rows of soldiers. They're nice and even. It's better printing than I can do. The wall is warm. Oh, again, he's gathering lots of data, lots of information using his senses. He's now touching the wall. Printing is a fancy word for writing. We do so much writing in class. Keep up the good work. I see everyone doing a nice job holding their pencil correctly, and we're all working on stamina, which means you are continuing to try at something even when you start to feel tired. Dad is searching and searching. Albert A. Jensen, Charles Bernowski, George Munoz. He mutters. His fingers stop moving. Here he is. My grandpa? I ask. Dad nods. Your grandpa. His voice blurs. My dad. He was just my age when he was killed. Dad's rubbing the name, rubbing and rubbing, as if he wants to wipe it away. Maybe he just wants to remember the way it feels. He lifts me so I can touch it too. We brought paper. Dad puts it over the letters and rubs on it with a pencil so the paper goes dark and the letters show up white. You've got parts of other guys' names on there too, I tell him. Dad looks at the paper. Your grandpa won't mind. They were probably friends of his anyway, I say. Dad nods. Maybe so. A man and a boy walk past. Can we go to the river now, Grandpa? The boy asks. Yes. The man takes the boy's hand. But button your jacket. It's cold. Oh, that reminds me of when we go out to recess. We know that everyone needs to wear whatever their grown-ups sent them to school wearing so that you stay nice and cozy, warm. My dad stands very still with his head bent. A bunch of big girls in school uniforms come down the path. Their teacher is with them. They are all carrying more of those little flags. Is this the wall for the dead soldiers, Miss Gerber? One of them asks in a loud voice. The names are the names of the dead, but the wall is for all of us, the teacher says. This reminds me about how we have been spending some time learning about the traditions that happen during Day of the Dead. Day of the Dead is a time to celebrate people's loved ones who have passed away, and it's a happy time. They make a lot of noise and ask a lot of questions, and all the time Dad just stands there with his head bowed, and I stand beside him. The girls stick their flags in the dirt in front of the wall and leave. Then it's quiet again. Do you think this place is peaceful? Put your thumb up if you think it sounds like a peaceful place. Touch your chin if you think our classroom is peaceful. What's something that you do to help make our classroom peaceful? Dad folds the paper that has Grandpa's name on it and puts it in his wallet. He slides out a picture of me, one of the yucky ones they took in school. Mom made me wear a tie. Dad puts the picture on the grass below Grandpa's name. Oh, so he's leaving a picture of this little boy. It blows away. I get it and put it back and pile some little stones on top. My face smiles up at me from under the stones. Grandpa won't know who I am, I tell Dad. I think he will, Dad says. I move closer to him. It's sad here. He puts his hand on my shoulder. I know, but it's a place of honor, which means a place to show respect. I'm proud that your grandfather's name is on this wall. I am too. I am. So 2 things can be true at the same time. This might be a sad place, and it also sounds like it might be a peaceful place, a time to think quietly. But I'd rather have my grandpa here, taking me to the river, telling me to button my jacket because it's cold. I'd rather have him here. The end. The Vietnam Veterans Memorial honors the men and women of the Armed Forces of the United States who served in the Vietnam War. On it are listed the names of those who gave their lives and those missing in action. The memorial is located in Washington, D.C. On the long black wall are more than 58,000 names. So if we take a look at the wall, there's names all over the wall. Now these are paintings of the wall, but with your grown-ups' permission, you could research what the actual wall looks like. You could research and find a photograph. Thank you so much for reading The Wall with me this evening and Veterans Day. Again, I'm looking forward to spending time making thank you cards for our veterans, and again, making a special craft that's connected to one of the symbols of the United States. I hope you have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.